so I'm comparing into this, and it's like it's got weird mixes. It's like this pillow that's back behind here. It's kind of a yellowy white, and it's a gray. So I mixed that up and I put it in as a slab. This woman's dress is kind of a black, but it appears almost a powdery black. So I put some blue into the black. You can see like through a stocking, you can start to see a little bit of flesh like right here. The cat's still kind of a smush. You'll get clarity as you go along, but I'm going to show you how to fill this gap right here, which looks to me like it's kind of a reddish brown. So let me mix that up. A little thin on paint. It helps when you're doing this if you're working on a piece of cardboard, something like that. That's close enough, and that's kind of an umber. I'm going to put a little blue in it because it's kind of cool. And I'll just show you how this goes on. This is going to go right here. It's a red leather couch, so it has a certain kind of feel. And you just go right up against the side. I'm going to see that gap like right in here. It's more reddish brown here. That paint, because it's oil paint, is still alive. Once, if you're working with acrylic, it's going to clump up pretty fast, but I'm not really that concerned with that. There's more of a reddish brown, like a sienna, that goes up in here. I'm just going to put that in. I don't have quite enough, thick enough paint. Let me see what I can whip up. Yeah, that's just a maize sienna, black and red. And this is just going to go like right in here, and it's going to fill in. So this is just all going to fill in. I see a cat's leg, it goes down something like this. I'm just looking for the big shapes right now. Now I can refine this, like up in that face. There's a certain kind of I think this was shot in the winter time, so she's a little pale, but the brightest spot is on her cheekbone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in that highlight like right here, and it's right here. Let me get rid of that little booger there. It's going to be right here. So that starts to get that light, and it's also in her neck. It's like right here. Okay, so I'm going to get like where this cat's face is. While this stuff is wet, you can push it around. But I'm going to use my little brush that I've got here to just put in some details, like some highlights in her hair, which, you know, it's going to look like you put it on with a knife, especially when you get back from it. That's why when you get up on a Van Gogh painting, it looks like just a bunch of clumps of paint. You have to view it from a certain point, like maybe 6, 7, 8 feet back. And that's what the Impressionists were looking at. They were looking at like high resolve in terms of paint. This is pretty wet. You know, in on this edge, this is still really, really wet, so I can push this into here and get that shape of like her arm, which is, you know, surprisingly goes to a gray yellow. And that cat, she's starting to show up there. You know, I'm just starting to see the face. If I put a little brown next to it, like this, underneath it, the face starts to show up, like right here. There's a cat head right there. And then like right down in here. This stuff just comes up in slow resolve. I see the same thing in her hair up in here. She's got different highlights, so I can kind of go into that. She's also, there's a line that comes down from her nose, like the ridge of her nose, which is like really kind of a highlight, like right in here. And this gets down to like one stroke. You just want to get yourself set, put it on. There it is, it shows up. And I see that again like right in the chin, like right here. Okay, and I can catch that line even with the back of my brush, that, you know, of her jawline. And this goes up into here. This red over here is brighter than the other red. So all I'm going to do is just go like this, and this will bring this right up, right? And then there's also like a red, looks like she's got a ribbon on her wrist. And then right here there's a red. It's kind of a jersey dress. You know, here's a shoulder that catches that red, that breaks it away from this reddish brown of the couch. Here's her sleeve again right here. And it just starts to come up. You know, you're not going to be able to get every little detail. Like you can see the white of her teeth. But I think that, you know, just a line of the dark red like that. Shows where her mouth is. So those kind of things just kind of resolve themselves. There may be a little bit of red in here. You're just kind of moving things around. You're working with small stuff. That big knife that you have will work pretty well with this size that you're working. These are also some impasto paints. This is just on a piece of styrofoam, like you would find on the street. If you put a little bit of white paint on it, you could paint on top of that. This is a funky little painting. It is kind of more of a caricature, but you can see some of it's brush and some of it's knife. And that knife stuff, it's like jewels, the way the stuff sits on top. You're working with acrylic so that when you put a mark down, say like this, as it smooshes out on the knife, while it's wet, you can actually put another color right on top if it's just one stroke. You can build that up. It's called wet into wet. And you know, that could go on top, and then a yellow could go on top of this. And this is what Van Gogh did in the last years of his life. He's making 2 paintings a day. And he's just building paint up. He's putting it down. It's not too wet. Make sure that the paint kind of has its body still. And then, you know, you just get cool stuff when you push through it. It's like, look at that. You know, you get these cool effects, so it becomes more about the paint and how it goes on. So that's what you're going to do, and your choices are self-portrait, object, you know, just a couple little objects on a table for a still life like this with a flower and a vase. Cool. Perfect. I'll show you some impasto paintings. I'll put some stuff up, but just set up something or do a self-portrait. It's going to look chunky a little bit, but be slow to judge it. Get back from it. Walk away from it. Step back. Take a look, and you'll see that you're starting to get those colors, that full saturation of color, like you might see in this. You know, this has got full saturation of color, but like up in here, it's clumpy because I put it on with a knife, I think. And, you know, even with a brush, you can put it on thick. You know, it's a little uneven, a little unorthodox, but from a distance, it works. It all pulls together, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. Optically, it works. You can kind of see that in this painting, too. I work big, and you can kind of see that a lot of it's kind of brushed in, but some of it's put in with a knife, like here, and like up in there, and I work the face around a little bit with a knife, and down in here, and down in here, it's a little bit chunkier. So I'm using a variety. On a big painting, it works really, really well. This is about 6 feet by 7 feet. So, you know, but working big and working small, I like going back and forth between the two. That's it.